Good evening and welcome to my weekly meltdowns. I'm going to call this the start of Armageddon because we're about to get into some reality show madness starting next week with Big Brother 24 premiering next week, which we're going to probably touch a little bit on at the very end of this just to kind of talk about the lack of hype that has come from that. But we're going to specifically talk about what's premiering after Big Brother 24, which is the Challenge CBS. And we'll get into that here. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. With me is the wonderful one and only Jackie B. Allison and Tyler are taking the calm before the storm starts. As we all know, Big Brother is a very busy season here at My Weekly Meltdown. So they're taking the night off. We even haven't really decided how much we're going to cover the Challenge CBS. It's going to all depend on how BB24. So there's a lot of covering, but we really wanted to get into this cast, and that's going to be our focus tonight, is looking at the cast of the Challenge USA. Jackie B, what are you thinking in excitement, not excitement, of the Challenge USA?
I mean, between CBS, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, there's been so much word vomit. I mean, what more can we say? You know, there's like little snippets that we can cover.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been hyped, and it's been hyped really, really well. But and I think that although it's been hyped really well, I feel like that also comes from the fact that this is something that the people have wanted for a long time. They've always said that the Challenge is one of the best reality TV show formats that's out there. And instead of seeing these TV hungry real world railroad pools and seeing this new, let's do into this new cast. And when we saw the Viacom CBS kind of merger here, we saw this begin to be able to happen. I, for one, am super excited. I've said that this should happen for a long time. I think that we stretched a little, throwing some Love Islanders in there and that kind of stuff.
It sounds like either availability or just, I'm not doing that. Which I don't understand why Survivor people would decline to do this. Just the fact that you get to eat and sleep in the bed, show up. Just show up.
And I can't even say that it's an availability thing necessarily. Like, I can see that, but I also wonder if some of these Big Brother and Survivor people are just wanting to part ways with CBS, because then you see these other reality shows that are starting to come out, and you see Snake in the Grass, which has 6 or 7 different reality TV stars on it. What's the show with Sari?
The Traitors?
The Traitor.
I'm pretty sure that I had to take a back seat because they were casting Sari, and I am all for it. I will take a back seat on the Traitors if Sari was cast in my place, because you can't have too many Black women.
And she was cast. You can, but they don't like it.
They don't like
it, and they don't like it. But when you see that these other shows are casting these people, and you see this start to happen, is it a break from reality TV and scheduling, or is it some of these people just saying, "Hey, CBS, I'm done"? I hope that's not the case, because I need to see Cherie win a season of Survivor.
Yeah, exactly.
But that it brings that up. Going into this cast analysis, I will say we don't know a whole lot. We don't know the format. We don't know, as we know with the Challenge, it can vary very, very greatly. So we're taking this at face value of what we know of these people, and really just kind of analyzing how we think they'll do in a Challenge environment and in a Challenge setting. I have them on my screen alphabetically. We're just going to go down the list alphabetically. We might go forward and backward because one might connect to another, which connects to another, which connects to another. But we're going to go over. So the first person I have on my screen is from Big Brother 23, our latest season, which is probably the most represented season of any show in this cast.
Yeah.
And that is Alyssa Lopez. What are our initial thoughts of Alyssa?
I think that she's going to surprise us with her physical capabilities. So I'm not going to sleep on her. I'm not going to sleep on her. I'm really hoping that I hope she pulls through.
So I loved Alyssa in BB23. I was a huge Alyssa stan. I always gravitate towards the pretty women, but I was very much an Alyssa stan in BB23. And when Christian went, I was even more of a stan, right? Like, we got this showmance out of the way, and we got
yeah.
I think Alyssa's social game is really, really on point. And I think that had it not been for the cookout, Alyssa would have gone further than she did. And I think we saw that with Xavier, who is in this cast, and we will talk about shortly. He was questioned that. I mean, at one point he was going to take Alyssa, and he was going to keep Alyssa. And so I am super excited to watch Alyssa play. I am super excited to see her get a second chance with some of these cookout players, because the cookout is represented from everybody but DF, if I'm not correct.
Exactly.
The entire cookout is back. I mean, you've got Kylan, you've got Azah, you've got Tiff, you've got Xavier. So DF is the only one out. So I'm very interested to see, does Alyssa trust that now and say, I had these relationships and I had these connections? Or is she more, hey, you burned me once, it's my turn? And I'm really interested to see that dynamic from Alyssa. What are your thoughts on that specifically, Jackie?
I will definitely tell you, as far as the cookout is concerned, the cookout is dead. It's not going to be able to survive here in the challenge. Unfortunately, because there's so many people who are privy, and the only other person that we're missing is Hannah.
Hannah, yes. And Jameson just pointed that out. Hannah is not here.
But because everyone is now privy to that, and they know how strong that bond was in the house, that, was it a full 100 days? No, that season was like 70-something days, right? Or 80-something days.
BB
anyway,
23 link.
I'll look it up. But because they had so much time to cultivate, the 4 that are there, they had so much time to cultivate that relationship. Everybody's already like watching them. So that's not going to be a thing. I'm pretty sure cookout is dead. There may still be some bitter parties involved. Like, I think Alyssa will be able to rise above. I think she's going to be an underdog. I think she's going to surprise us on a lot of these physical competitions.
For sure. She is physically fit and she can play that. And Jameson, thanks for pointing that out in the chat. Jameson Moore with us tonight. Thanks for being here. She was asked, Hannah was asked, but declined it. It was 85 days. So BB23 was 85 days. And I agree completely. And the format is different for the cookout, right? You couldn't directly go for one person or two people. In the challenge, you can be on the bottom and really have a lot of power in 1 week. So that's what is the problem with seeing a big alliance get necessarily to the end. So yeah, I'm excited. If I was going to put my money on a BB23 house guest, I would lean more towards Alyssa, because she's not in that cookout stigma and she's not in that cookout situation. And I think that will benefit her more than it'll hurt her. Anything else on Alyssa before we move on?
No, let's go. Let's keep going.
Angela Rummans from BB20. I'm going to start to say she was definitely the All-Stars reject, right? Like, she didn't get in with Tyler like she really wanted to. But I'm excited to see her play without Tyler.
Yes, me too.
I'm super excited to see that. I had no problems with Angela. I liked Angela in the season. And I am super excited to see Angela play without the showmance involved.
Right. I hate Angela. But in like a love-hate, like, it's one of those, damn, she played the shit out of that game. But also I'm like, oh, I hate how she played that game. But she did if a guy would have done exactly what she did, he would have been a hero. But, she was just cutthroat and cunning. I mean, she still got the guy in the end. I think here she is one of the physical beasts. And I think that her social game doesn't even have to be a factor here. I think that she doesn't need to align with anybody, which I know that that's not how the game works. She's going to align. She's going to find her pocket. But I think if she were to just lower her shoulder and just bulldoze her way through every single comp, she could be just a beast, literally winning every single one.
Yeah, and I'm also excited to see, because Tyler didn't do well in the house without Angela. When we look at BB22, the season that we wish never existed, he didn't do well. So I'm intrigued to see, does she play better without him than he played without her? How attached is she to him? Because we saw that this kid, Tyler, is smitten to be. How smitten is Angela? How do we see that? So I'm really excited to see just that aspect of her coming in as a loner and not being able to showmance, because she still is in a very out there relationship. That brings us, still on Big Brother, to BB23 yet again. I don't know what much to say about Azah.
So Azah is here for the black goyles. She's here for the bonnet wearing, fro having girls. I honestly, I want to say that I'm underestimating her. I think we're gonna have more tears than wins from Azah. She is so sweet and I love her, but I think she's here for decoration. She's here so I'll watch it.
I'm trying to think of the right way to approach this topic.
Go ahead, Andrew. Give it to
I
me.
am not a fan of Azah whatsoever at all. I am a fan of African American and women representation. I'm for all of that. But at the end of the day, when she ultimately said she is willing to throw the game because of whatever her reasoning is, when there are millions of Americans that would have loved to get in there and play that game. And as much as I believe that representation and discussion of race has a spot on reality television, we are ultimately there to play a game. And Jameson says that Azah, Alyssa, and Angela surprised him. So that's very interesting to see.
Oh, that's
and I do know a lot of our E-News interviews are coming out next week. And Shannon Thorpe is very, very good and does great interviews. And those are coming out with TJ and a lot of contestants. But I can't get over how very much she was willing to throw away her game, to throw away the rightful winner of the game. And at one point in time, that wasn't even about race. It was about she didn't like Derek F. Yeah. And she was willing to take him just because of a personal reason. So even taking race out of it, Azah had a hard time finding that border between personal and game. And if you thought Big Brother got heated, the challenge gets heated way quicker than Big Brother does. So that's going to be my biggest challenge for Azah is can she put these personal things and these personal feelings aside and remember why she's there? She's there to play a game.
I hope she can. I mean, she physically seems like she should be able to, but like you said, she's given us all Disney Channel and Lifetime movie, and I'm concerned. I do have that concern. When I saw that she was cast, I was like, I would have rather had Brittany. Like,
yeah, there's many, and I'm also curious if Hannah accepted, is Azah still in the cast?
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Because we've heard from Jameson that she declined, was that Adventurous Filmmaker? Thanks for joining us in the chat. So weird having it. Love Disney Channel. What I'll say about that is I don't think it's weird. I think it's them trying to piggyback a new idea that I think has the chance to be almost more successful because of the following of some of these vets have. Piggyback it on the great night. We've seen that happen before with Big Brother finales and Survivor premieres, right? Like we've seen a Big Brother finale end and a Survivor premiere happen right after that. So I don't think it's necessarily weird. I think it's just a straight publicity ratings grab.
Because they know the formula. They know what the ingredients are to make the hit. So dare we say that this challenge it's supposed to be the thing that we're all obsessing over?
So the hype that I've heard is it's a very, 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 very good season. And I haven't looked at any spoilers, but the final is not very good, is what I have heard. And I've also said that Jameson, I'm actually going there right now. He asked, can you see any of these USA competitors cross over to the MTV version? The rumor I've heard is they're setting up for, with all of these different challenges coming out, and they have some in different countries, they have some different themes, that they're setting up for a battle of the champions where you're going to see, I think, CT, Bananas, Wes, Cam, some of these mega winners are now going to compete against these winners of some of these spinoffs to ultimately create a tournament style, the challenge type thing.
Global.
Will we see other crossover? I hope not. I truly hope not. But we will see. I'm okay with who they've chosen to put in MTV and who they've chosen to put here. Like, I don't want Josh in this season. I don't want Fessy in this season. So to answer that, I hope no.
They can't cross back over once they've gone over to MTV. So Casey is now MTV. You stay over there.
We had this same conversation with the geriatric version of the challenge, right? Like the crossing over back and forth. We've had this conversation.
No double dipping. Don't come back over here to CBS once you done gone over to NTV. We good.
We've got a lot more to get into, and we're already 15 minutes in, so we're going to keep on trucking into what Jackie B said. Now, I will say before this, Jackie B is very, very positive that a Survivor contestant will be winning this season.
I think so. That's if we had a draft, my draft is someone from Survivor is winning this.
The first representation we're going to talk about with Survivor is probably not your best example, but that is Ben, the winner of Survivor 35. And then
now, you
also
know I love Ben. Wait a minute. Were you on the day that Tyler was trying to ridicule me? Because I love Ben because Rick didn't win his season.
Okay, so my wife hates Ben. And
everybody hates Ben.
I love Rick Devens.
I love Rick Devens. If he would have won, he'd be my favorite winner of Survivor.
Even after Marianne.
Wait, Marianne was never my favorite. I was just excited that she won. Because again,
she's
representation
one of my favorite
matters.
Winners of all time. I love me some Marianne.
Oh. But Ben is one of my favorite winners of Survivor, or at least new school Survivor.
So how do you think Ben's going to do on the Challenge 40 or the Challenge USA?
He'll do okay. Like I said, someone from Survivor is winning this. They don't have to eat just rice. They get beds. They get to sleep all night and indoors. Challenge accepted, one done, crushed. Social, because they have everything. They have the mental fortitude. They have the social game. They have the physical game. Like they can outwit, outplay, outlast. I know that's not this game, but I don't know if Ben is going to do it because someone is probably going to be like blocking Ben from his win. But he could. He has an option.
So I would agree that a Survivor is probably going to win this, but my Survivor pick's going to come a little later. I agree with everything you said about the bed and the air. The problem is, can Ben put a filter on his mouth?
Exactly. That's the only thing. I know people don't care for him. He's socially not the best, but
so I'm excited to see Ben play, and I'm excited to see him play in a different format. I'm ready for him to look for hidden immunity idols that don't exist in the challenge, right? Like I'm ready
hidden
for him
strategies. He's gonna find anything
to open the toilet and look for these things, right? I'm excited to see Ben play in a game where a power can't protect him, I guess, is a good example of that.
I want to see Ben in an elimination with someone else who's a beast.
Can you imagine like him and Derek X?
Oh,
I'm sorry, Xavier, him and Xavier or DX?
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
Oh, I like that would be, yeah, there's some good setup. And there's some small Love Island people coming to this season too. So the challenge mashups themselves, the competition, the pit, the getting in there, I think is going to be nitty gritty this season.
These eliminations are going to be so good.
I can't wait. Let's move on. Now, I will say Love Island, I casually watched because my wife watched. Jackie B did not watch at all. So we're going to touch on these very, very little. I did do some research and I know a lot about most of the people. Same with The Amazing Race. I know a little bit of information of some of them, but we probably won't delve into them as much because we're more Big Brother Survivor people. But moving on to the first one, which is Cachet from Love Island Season 3, rocking the purple hair in the cast photo. What I can say I know about Cachet is she's also one that she's going to tell it like it is. She's very out there. She was in a very obvious love triangle in her season, and she knows how to bring the drama. And I think that whether she does well physically or not, and that's the hard part about Love Island, right? We don't know their physical competition status as much. And the challenges
don't do competitions like that, right? It's just
not like that. Theirs are more like blindfolded kissing contests and pillow fighting and things like that.
Give me 10 seconds. What is Love Island? Is it just a dating show? Like
it's a dating show where you couple off and there's recoupling ceremonies. And if you don't have a partner at the end of that episode, you go home. And then ultimately, America votes on which couple at the end should win the cash prize.
So much similar to like Bachelor in Paradise, where they all kind of come together to get paired up. That's the whole point. That's how you like win the game. But then there's still strategy that's involved because you can like cock block this person. You can create a love triangle. You can put doubt in this other person's mind, things of that nature.
And even if you don't find a couple you want now, you want to hang around because new people come in all the time. So you might want to see someone. If you don't find your person here, you still want to hang around for an Andrew Gibson or a Jackie B to walk in the door, and that's what you're waiting for, right?
I'm waiting for you, Andrew. I am waiting for my Andrew to come through the door.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where we look at Love Island. We don't know a lot about the physical standpoint of a lot of these contestants.
Okay. But except for someone that we'll get to down the road because his is visible. But so it sounds like the Love Island cast, there's still going to be some kind of like brain gears churning of who they can align with, heavy social game type stuff. And we just don't know if they'll be able to jump off of a 20 tower building or whatever.
Love Island was cast for the drama and the sex is my vantage point.
So they were too cast for the drama and the sex in this challenge. Got it. I'm ready.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Moving on to our second Love Island person from Love Island season 1, Cashel Barnett. He goes by Cash, and I can't talk about Cash without talking about, so we're going to talk about these two together, even though she's towards the end for me, Kira. Okay, so Cash and Kira were on the same season of Love Island, and they were a couple from the very beginning, a very strong, very prominent couple that was created in Love Island. And then at one point, I think it was Kira that got eliminated because Cash decided to go a different direction and try something out, even though they'd been together for so long. Okay. Cash ends up leaving the show several days later because he realized Kira was his person. And it might have been the other way around, but these two were the couple that didn't make it that season, but still kind of gone together. I don't think they're together anymore. Don't quote me on that. But there's some story and some history between these two. And I think that it'll be very interesting to watch that come out.
Okay, I'm ready.
You could probably YouTube like Cashel Kira Love, and you're probably going to get like a video package, right? Like I recommend doing that. What I do that with a lot of All-Star seasons, if I don't remember something, I'll just YouTube video package bin. And there's some fanatic out there that has clipped together 30 minutes of footage about these people. So I need to do that for these Love Islanders and these amazing racers. Which brings us to we're moving again through these a little quickly. Our 7th today from Amazing Race 33, Kayla Platt. I know nothing about Kayla. I don't. Do you know anything about Kayla?
No, but I do know that like with Amazing Race, there is still like a lot of strategy. You still have to have some kind of physical endurance, some kind of patience that's involved. So I don't think that we should sleep on the Amazing Racers because they will be able to compete. The only people who I have like no faith in is the Love Island people. I think they're just here for the show. But I think these Amazing Racers, they will have endurance. I could see an Amazing Race person in a challenge because that's what an Amazing Race is. It's a final challenge. So I could see that.
Yeah, and will that hurt them? Will people want to pick them off because they're like, well, they ran final type things before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I also don't think this is going to be a game of Big Brother versus Love Island versus The Amazing Race versus Survivor. I could be wrong in that, but I truly think we're going to see a lot of mixing and mingling here. Moving on to our next Love Island contestant. And I don't know a lot about her. I remember her name, and I remember her being I feel like on the Love Island, they've gone for the very dramatic people, problematic people, which is expected. But it's Sally Vasquez. Again, I don't know a lot to tell you about Sally, but I do know. And I think that from her season, Love Island 2, there's no... Okay, so there's one other. So there's 2 from Love Island 2, a couple from 3, and a couple from 1. But I don't know a lot from Sally except that she's connected to Love Island season 2.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her, but good luck with the tea, the drama, and the crying. I'm ready for the tears.
Now, when we were talking about duels and pictures of Love Island, I'm going to guess that Jackie B was hinting towards one of the next people that we are going to discuss, who I do know quite a bit about, and am super. I feel like if there's a Love Islander that's going to succeed in the challenge, it is Cinco. Which we go ahead. And before I go into what I know about Cinco, I want Jackie B's because she is boiling to say something.
Okay, so the only thing is he skips leg day. That's the only concern that I have. So I don't know what his legs are going to do, but his arms and his chest, he can do it all. So I actually have no faith that he will win anything. I just want to see him compete.
Okay, so I mixed that up. Thank you, MJ. Like I said, I was a casual watcher, but Kira was the one who broke Cash's heart. But they came back, and there was some rekindling, and it was very fun to watch. But Cinco is a beast, and although they didn't compete in those comps, you always saw him working out. You always saw him doing those things, and he's one of those that, like, whether the social aspect of his game takes off, he's not scared to go into a pit. He'll go into an elimination. And I think he'll be fine. I could see if there's a Love Islander I'd put some credit behind, it's gonna be Cinco.
Cinco and Ben in an elimination.
Or even Xavier with those.
Yeah.
And I'm checking. So Cinco and Cache, who we talked about earlier, were the ultimate couple, and they were in the love triangle in Love Island in their season. So we are seeing the past and the history of that coming back in this, as we already talked about Cache being in there.
Are they the drama? I think they're the drama. They're the drama.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how. I know they broke up after the season. I know that he was the middle of a love triangle with another woman. But I don't know what their relationship is like now.
Ooh, I have a feeling we're going to see it. I have a feeling it's going to happen.
I guarantee that. But thank you, MJ. You seem to be our resident Love Island, so we appreciate any help on that because we are not as knowledgeable. But we're about to get into some more Survivor Big Brother situations here, which someone who I am extremely excited to watch play from season 41 of Survivor, Danny McCray.
Oh my gosh. Robbed. Yes, I'm so excited for him to play.
100% robbed, 100% should have done more, gone further. From the beginning, I was a Danny fan, and just his story and the way he played that season was very, very good. I think that the duo he decided to hitch himself to was ultimately his demise.
Yeah.
But I am very excited to see Danny come back. I hope that the injuries and things that he was dealing with are healed, because if not, that could hurt him a little in the long run. But I'm very excited. If I had to pick a couple from the new Survivor that I wanted to see come back, whether on Survivor or something else, Danny would have been one of them.
Yeah, Danny definitely was my please return. I wanted to see him, and seeing him in this challenge is going to be great. I think he has a great mind for these kinds of games. Like that strategic mind of his that I watched kind of secretly unfold in his season was awesome. And then, I mean, I hope his athleticism can go. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I saw a pattern with these Survivor contestants, and I was like, damn, who's the youngest one? Is the youngest one older than me? So that's why I was like, I think the Survivor players have a little bit of a leg up because of their maturity, we'll say. And I'm hoping that any one of them, but definitely Danny is probably in my maybe in my top 3 of who I want to win of the Survivors.
Okay. I'd love to see him stick around. I'd love to see him play. I hope he can convert to the game, because this is not Survivor. It's nowhere close to Survivor, and I hope he can carry that on. Speaking of people that we want to see back, someone that I was hoping I would never have to see be back from Big Brother 21, and the all-star who shouldn't have been from Big Brother 22, David Alexander is bracing us with the that, and before we get into very shortly and quickly, David Alexander, I want to bring up what Jane says here. Jane Johnson, thank you for joining us tonight, brings up that she doesn't like the small Amazing Race casting, which they brought more. And I agree. If you're going to give representation from a show, you need to give the full representation. And it's not even from a representation standpoint. It's from an advantage-disadvantage standpoint. Because you truly don't want this to turn into Love Island versus Big Brother versus Survivor versus Amazing Race. And then Amazing Race have no purpose or no point of even being here.
I agree.
So, but let's get into the first boot of 21, David Alexander. Jackie B, I have very little nice to say, so I will let you talk first.
Okay, I will say something nice about David. And I actually said this to my husband. I said, he is a very good social intuitive person. He just doesn't know where he fits in properly, and he can never find that. And if he can compete well, like if he can do some comps, and I hope he's watched the challenge in the last 40 years. So if he can compete, then he can do okay. So that's the nice thing that I had to reach very far to say about David. So I think David and Azah might be tied on tiers.
Jameson says in the chat that Ovi tweeted that David used Ovi's Paramount Plus account to catch up on old seasons of the challenge. So at least he did some homework this time. Jalen says, let's go, David.
Yeah.
And I will agree with what Jackie says about his social perception and his social awareness, because from when he was in Camp BB, he picked that sucker to the core, like what was going on and what was happening. Jameson, give me 2 seconds and I'll get to that question. My issue, he is very socially aware. I don't think my issue is so much with David as it is that he never should have been on Big Brother All-Stars. And so it's more of a CBS issue to me. You pick someone that flop night 1, has never really watched the show, didn't know what a veto was, and you put him on an all-star season. So my issue isn't so much with David. It's more with Grodner and them not putting him in a season he had no business being in. And I think he got lost in that season, which made me not like him even more. And so again, I'm not hating on David as much. I just don't like the David that we've seen on TV. And I don't think that's his fault. Jameson Moore asked, I have a question. So I'm new to watching the challenge and I'm actually rewatching old seasons. Do you think the problem with the BB players is the BB Alliance or the specific people they get from BB? So we're not talking Challenge USA anymore. We're talking more of real challenge and what's going on now with this question. I think it's a little bit of both. And you saw this when the challenge originally started to put Are You the One people in, and it not just being Real World and Road Rules people. These people were targeted as just a newcomer group that had no business being here. And the challenge is very, very known for going after newbies first. And so because you're introducing a new season, you see that start to come in. I think the BB Alliance itself is more from the people they get. Josh, Fessy, Casey, those people aren't separating in those regards. I don't think that's going to be the case in this season of the Challenge USA, because it's going to be very much these are all people that have never done this before. So I think it's going to be very, very, very more interesting. And I'll also say a lot of the players on this cast are used to comeback seasons and are used to returnees, and how sometimes that's worked out and sometimes that hasn't. So I think there's going to be some anxiety and some situations where I don't think we're going to see the same challenge formula that we are. And I agree, Jameson, don't go after newbies, go with what's best for your game. But that's just the formula that's been written for the challenge. Anything you want to add on that, Jackie B? Or are we ready to move on?
Let's go. Let's plow through it.
Let's keep going. I would love to say that we're halfway there, and I think we're close. But this is a large cast, as most challenge people are. And this brings me to who I think was the true MVP of BB23, Derek X. I love
I know
Derek
Derek.
X.
Oh,
I
look.
adore Derek X. I was a huge Claire fan, so to see
Mhm.
Derek X and Claire together, who are coming to the Amazing Race,
Yes, 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 yes.
so to see them coming together or to see him in this as a BB23 representation, separate from the cookout, I'm excited to see him play again.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that DX is here.
He was a really good player in general. I was kind of when I was watching season 23, I was like, well, can we kind of renegotiate on this cookout? Because Derek was really good. I would have swapped out Hannah for Derek all day, every day. But I just want to know what his real physical ability is. I think socially and strategically, if we get another TJ, what is it called, the trivia day, I think he'll be just fine. I don't want to see him in an elimination. I don't want to see him up against nobody in an elimination. Maybe Tyson.
Or like James or a couple of these other, like a Cashel or someone like that. I think there's a chance there. And the comment you said about I don't think anybody. I would have loved to see him swapped out from anybody in the cookout. I think everybody in the cookout would have rather him been swapped out with Derek F too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I agree. I don't know what we're going to get from him. I don't know how great it's going to be. I do think he has more of a big brother mind than a challenge mind.
I agree.
And so I don't have him as a winner pick necessarily. I don't even have him as a late game pick necessarily, but I have him as I'm excited to see him back on my team.
Exactly.
And that is from that. I will also say the representation in this season is some of the best from a primetime reality TV show that I have ever seen in my entire life, because I've watched reality TV since I was in the womb.
It is We Are the World. It sure is. It is a rainbow coalition. It is everybody from every color of the rainbow is represented here.
And I think POC outnumbers. I think there's more POC. I mean, all of that put together. So hats off to casting. I think that was a great representation. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm excited for that. But that brings us to Survivor 35, the Desi Williams.
I don't have anything to say about Desi, but thanks for playing.
She's one I'm not that excited to see back. I think she's back more because of her profession, the rugby league, the fact that she was a rugby player, the fact that she had that athletic background. They thought she'd transition well over into this. And that's kind of why I think she's here.
Yeah, she'll do well.
So then we move back to season 36 of Survivor. If you're not a Ben fan, hold on, because Dominic is coming to the Challenge USA, ladies and gentlemen. Dominic will be there from Survivor 36. What are our Dominic thoughts?
I don't have a huge problem with Dominic. I think Dominic did an okay job. Dom made good TV. He was a great runner-up.
I'm excited to see Dom and Ben in the same season.
Yes.
Like, they're either gonna be foop or they're gonna be foop, right? Like their mouths. Denying that. It's good to see those two. I don't think they'll get along. They could surprise me, but I don't think they will. I agree with what Jackie B said. I think Dominic is a great TV cast, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect him to do well in this season, but I expect him to be entertaining to watch.
Yeah, very much.
So I'm excited to see him back. If you're going to go from this more new school Survivor pool, which a lot of theirs were, I think Dominic was a good cast.
Yeah.
My allergies are kicking in because the Meow Meow is next on our cast list. Enzo from BB12 and BB22. I'm excited to see Enzo do the challenge. He's the old man coming in. He was one of the ones from BB All Stars that I actually like tuned in to watch every week, even as it kind of got like, and he was one that I wasn't really excited to see at the beginning of All Stars. So I'm super sorry, I dropped my pen. That Enzo is back, and I think he's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, I told my husband, I was like, you should go back and watch Enzo's first season and his second because you will like him. My Enzo history is I went backwards. I did 23, 21, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then I went back to 12 and then moved my way up because, yeah, I like Enzo. I'm excited to see him compete. He's giving me all the I'm here to win, I'm going to smash his head and eat it vibe. So I can't wait to watch him compete. I can't wait to see him. Well, I don't want him to go home, but I can't wait to see him send people home in the elimination.
Sorry, and I'm listening, but I'm looking here. Am I missing something? Because I don't see Tiffany on this cast list. Is Tiffany not on the cast?
I have her on the E-Weekly. I have Tiffany on the E-Weekly, and she's in the, Entertainment Weekly, and she's on the Entertainment Weekly picture, but.
So she's not on CBS's website.
Oh, wow. Was she like a late?
Because I thought Shan was in this cast too.
Yeah, Shan's supposed to be in this cast too.
She's not on the CBS website.
Oh, no. Were they late removals?
Or were they late additions?
Ooh.
Wasn't there a COVID scare in this?
Oh, did someone get sick?
Wait, hold on. Now I'm seeing her in this cast picture. Okay, hold on.
And also, YouTube has been like force feeding me these videos of interviews from everyone. And also, YouTube has leaked the first 3 minutes of the premiere episode. And I haven't watched that 3 minutes because I can't defile myself like that. But Tiffany and Shan are still in all of the content.
I'm on a different page on the Challenge USA on CBS's website, and I was missing some people. So, yes, Shan is there. Tiffany is there. So we're good. We've got some people on that. So let's keep trucking along. We went Desi. We went Dominic. We went Enzo. James Wallington, The Amazing Race, season 32. I know you don't know a lot about Amazing Race, Jackie B. What I can say is James played with his partner, Will Jardell. I know Will because he came from my hometown. His mother owned a dance studio in Nederland, Texas, where I'm from. And what I can say is they played Amazing Race like it was Big Brother. Like they made alliances. They played the game from a game standpoint that you didn't even know the game existed in The Amazing Race.
Was it like Rob and Amber level? Because I know that's like season 7, but oh God, okay.
I mean, these two were playing cutthroat. They were playing it like that. And Will used to host his husband used to host his own online reality game that was a live version called Big Sister. You can find it on YouTube. You could last I looked. It's actually pretty entertaining and pretty well to watch if you're just bored on a Saturday afternoon. So from a social strategic standpoint, I think that James is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think he might come for their throats for real.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
But if he goes into an elimination, he's done.
So his goal is to stay out of elimination unless they bring some weird thing like what they have in All Stars where you have to like collect something of some sort. Then we gonna want to see him in elimination so he can get them stars.
For the sake of time, I'm going to skip through Giovanni and Justine just because, again, we don't know a lot about Love Island, so I don't know a lot about these two. They have winner next to Justine's name on Love Island too, so let's go. Let's see. And we have to get into some of these last two rows here. Again, we're probably not going to get into Kira. We talked to her a little bit with Cash. Yeah. Leo, I know that he was fun to watch in The Amazing Race, but we'll see how he does here. And Shannon from Love Island season 3. We try to keep our shows about an hour for you guys, and we're getting to the end. And we're going to have a lot to say about these last couple, Big Brother and
I can keep it short.
Let's test that with Kylan. Young from Big Brother 3.
Oh, I can really keep Kylan short. Honestly, as long as he doesn't bring any drama and he only focuses on the challenge, he'll be just fine.
I'm interested to see where the blood with him and Xavier is now. I am interested to see. I was a very huge Kylan fan at the beginning of Big Brother 23.
Weren't you? I was too.
But what he did going out the door is something that I cannot support Kylan in any other game for the personal attack of someone's nephew on your way out.
But he was doing ugly things before that. It was just a buildup.
And it was.
Again, he's one of those, just like Azah. He's got to be able to take away the personal, separate the personal from the game. Like, that's what I'm saying. If he focuses just on the challenge and eliminates all the personal drama, I think he could do really, really well. Not winner worthy because he's not a Survivor contestant, but I think he could do well.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see him watch a final because I don't think he'd do that great on it. I don't know. He's not that fit.
As soon as they gotta eat something gross, he's gonna just throw up. It's gonna be like Corey all over again, just throwing up and throwing up and throwing up.
Yeah, I don't know. Kylan was one of those that I would have been okay if he was left off this cast.
Me too.
Because I do feel like we got a little cookout overload, right? I do feel like that existed. I feel like they put more on them than they should have, kind of like they did with S6 going into Big Brother All-Stars in season 7, which I know you didn't really watch a whole that much back. But they put too many season 6ers into BB7, putting the target on them. Jameson says Kai smelling the tortillas. Yeah, so he would have been one that I would have been okay leaving off this cast.
Kylan and Azah, I could have not had them.
And I still would have been okay if you gave me Hannah. Like, if you put Hannah back in this season,
Hannah, Brittany, like, there's a slew of other people. Yes.
I'm a huge Hannah fan, and I wanted her to win that season so bad. All right, moving on to who I am going to say is my Challenge USA winner pick. Sarah Lacina.
Of course. Top 3. So far, we've already touched on my other one who's in my top 3, Danny. Sarah's in my top 3. Yeah, for sure.
She's made for this game. And she did so well in Survivor, but she's made for the challenge. Yeah. The girl is a physical beast. The girl is older, probably one of the older on the cast, but probably can go toe-to-toe with Xavier in an elimination.
Yes.
Social game on point. The challenge is very much a game of survival. And Sarah is a survivor. Sarah is my winner pick for this season. And I've never been a huge Sarah fan. I love to watch her, but I've always rooted against her. But I think that she's going to flourish.
I very much see her in several eliminations, sending them home.
Yeah. And part of it's going to be, she's old, so let's throw her in. And she's going to, I don't know. I am so pumped to see Sarah in this cast.
Me too. And so is my husband. My husband's excited to see Sarah too.
I'm going to skip Shan and we're going to come back.
We don't have to. I'm not happy that she's here.
I want to save Shan and Tiffany for last.
Yuck. We don't even need to talk about Shan at all.
I want to save Tiffany for last, and Shan and Tiffany, because I want to talk about them together.
Okay.
But we need to go to the Tasha Fox.
You mean the swole Tasha Fox?
Oh, I can't wait.
The bodybuilder Tasha Fox?
Oh, I'm so excited to see Tasha back.
She's not in my top 3, unfortunately. And not because I don't want her to be. I know that she very well could win this whole thing. She is a beast. I think she's sending bitches home. She's crushing this game for sure. Oh, I'm excited to watch her play.
Yeah, I love her. I just love her. And how can you not love Tasha? So I agree. I don't think she's a winner pick. I think that she is a late game pick.
Yeah.
But I think that she is going to be just so. I think she's going to be our breath of fresh air this season. I think she's going to be that one that's trying to stay out of the drama, trying to keep things calm, trying to keep things cool. And I'm really excited to see Tasha back.
Yeah, me too.
And then I'm guessing this is the other in your top three. Tyson Apostle is back from 18, 20, 27, and 40 of Survivor. He's played more seasons of Survivor than Love Island has even been around as seasons of a reality show. Let's hear it. What you think about Tyson?
He's a late game for me as well. I'm not sure. He would be top 4. He would be number 4. I would love to see him win without going into an elimination at all. I don't want to see him in an elimination with anyone, maybe Derek, but like I'm not sure what his strength is like now. He's really smart. Oh my gosh, he's brilliant. And I think that would be what makes him a late gamer for us, is he's so smart. Again, the Survivor players there is maturity, but I don't mean maturity like age. Like, I mean wisdom too. Like, there's so much that's involved with all these players who are, over 35. Like, okay, young one, that's nice, but I'm about to overthink and rethink your thought and then show you why it's wrong. Like, I cannot wait to see him strategize. But no, he's not a winner pick. I know.
So I'm going to flip-flop on you, and Tyson's an early boot for me.
Really?
And here's why.
Okay.
When you look at this cast, if you're going to go legend status, it's Tyson from this cast. And I think that's going to make him an early target and ultimately an early boot. And as much as I love and agree with you from a strategic standpoint, I don't think he can hold his own in an elimination. And that's my nerve for Tyson.
So he failed. He loses like the first or second challenge, goes into elimination against Cinco, gets sent home. Like, that makes perfect sense to me.
But if he survives the first 3 weeks, he's late game. He's final.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you let Tyson, if you're gonna take Tyson out, it's week 1 or 2, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's week 1 or 2. And if not, he's gonna never see that elimination again because he has whittled his way in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to say that it's interesting with that. Having that said, you talk about BB23 being overrepresented. Look at Survivor winners at war.
Oh my God, right?
You've got Sarah, you've got Tyson, you've got Ben. I mean, you've got a couple people that just played winners at war together, and that's at a higher caliber than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, for sure, I'm excited to watch Tyson. I would love to see him get into this game and manipulate it and weave it like we know Tyson can do. Yes. But if I was going to look at this cast and give GOAT status to a couple of people, Tyson is one of those, and I'm afraid that could hurt him more than it can help him.
Exactly.
Okay, finally, Xavier, our reigning Big Brother champion that had no business signing up for this show because he had nothing to gain and everything to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
I love Xavier, and I'm excited to watch him play. I think he's great as a person. I think he's not even making the midway point in this game.
Yeah, actually, X was going to be one of my early boots. He was going to be one of my first ones out because of there's so many cookout people. So there's already going to be, bad blood within the cookout. Tiffany is probably going to be orchestrating his demise. And I don't know what his athletic capability is really, because he threw a lot of the challenges in the Big Brother house so that way he didn't have to appear as a threat. So I don't know what he's really capable of. I kind of think he's a little arrogant, and I don't think that he's gonna experience this the way he should. You know what I'm saying? I think he's gonna think that he's already above the situation, and he'll be easily blindsided out real quick. I think he'll lose the first or second or third challenge, and then he'll be gone in elimination.
So I have stayed 99.9% spoiler free from this season because I don't want anything. The one thing I do know is Xavier is very upset with things that happened this season.
Yeah.
He is very betrayed, upset, mad, angry. And I follow him on Twitter, and there's been some stuff that's gone down on that. So Xavier is not going to have the cake road he had in BB23.
Yeah.
He's in for some rude awakenings in this season. And there's some drama centering around Xavier. I don't know what, I don't know with who. It felt like it was from some very trusted people. So I'm assuming some issues with maybe a Tiffany or a Alyssa or someone like that. But I do know that Xavier came off of this season very, very, very upset.
Yep.
So if it's giving me good TV, I'm here for it. Okay, so let's bring us down to the final two. And we made this comparison in Shan's season of Survivor. I think between Shan Smith and Tiffany Mitchell, Tiffany showed us how to do it. Shan tried to duplicate it and failed miserably. And I do not think these two girls will get along at all in this game or in this house.
So I disagree a little bit. So This is a very sad thing that I have to admit. Shan is in my top 3 Survivor winners because of how hungry she will be. I think they both have had a chance to do research on each other. I think that they will figure out a way to work together. I don't like it. I can take her leave. I love Tiffany. She's from Detroit. I'm from Detroit. I love Tiffany. I love how she orchestrated everything with the cookout. I love how smart she was, which was why she was the first one out. But I can take a leave Tiffany and I can take a leave Shan. But I do believe that Shan is hungry enough to fight for this. I think she learned her lesson.
So I do like it if it can happen, but I don't think either of them are ever going to trust the other one. And I don't think that it's ever,
all ego.
It's ever going to succeed. If they could pull that off, then yes, I think they could run the game.
Exactly.
But
that's the thing.
Tiffany didn't trust the cookout.
Barely, right? She came up with this idea and then she didn't trust anybody along the process.
And Tiffany, and again, Tiffany was a little less than Azah, but Tiffany, if Tiffany keeps Claire, Tiffany wins $500,000.
Exactly.
But I get at that point they were trying to do something that had never been done and take that whole alliance to the end. My difference comes in with Azah taking more personal towards DF towards the end is kind of where my comments were other.
Mm-hmm.
But and now with that being said, though, I think Tiffany comes into this game with I've proven that point. I don't think we see the race card getting brought up from her as much as I've got to keep my people and I've got to keep the cookout and I've got to prove this. I think she's coming to play this time.
Yeah, I think so too. But that's the same thing that I feel about Shan. I feel like Shan saw the error of her way. She saw where she slipped up. And I think she's hungry enough this time to really, really push it. So my top 5 would be Tasha at 5th, Tyson at 4th, Shan at 3rd, Danny at 2nd, and Sarah at 1st for my Survivor winners of this challenge. Because I'm pretty sure a Survivor person is going to win this challenge. But yeah, I think Shan is hungry enough to fight. And if she sees that her ticket is Tiffany, and same thing with Tiffany, if Tiffany sees that her ticket is Shan, they will figure it out. And that's why I'm like, ugh.
I hope you're wrong. I'm not.
Survivor is winning the challenge.
I'm not a huge Shan fan, but I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too. I really had to sit and think about this though. Like of all the Survivor players, like I would love for Tasha to win, but I'm gonna tell you, Tasha is she already looks like a physical threat. They're gonna come after her. And she's gonna go out on like a stupid puzzle at the elimination or something dumb. Ugh.
But that is our cast. I mean, we went a whole hour. I'm sorry we weren't able to get into everyone as deep as we would have loved to. But we will be covering this in some capacity this summer. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly thing, but me and Jackie B have hiked each other up enough where we have to come on and talk about this a little more at some point. I don't know if it'll be an every other week or a weekly, or maybe we'll do a quarter, half, end year review. But I am pumped. I think this season's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be fun. And I hope it's not the last one. I hope we can see this to continue. And I hope we can see it to continue in the way where there's a big enough pool out there where you're one and done, and we set up for an All-Stars. I hope we don't see this kind of challenge math start to happen in this. Any last minute thoughts from you, Jackie B, about this season of the Challenge USA?
I said it before, I'll say it again. I have all of my money on a Survivor player winning this game. I feel like the Challenge USA is built for a survivor. You know, they've been through so much. Some of them have been through monsoons and couldn't sleep and they were shivering. Some of them have been eaten alive by bugs that if I saw, I would quit the game. Some of them have gone days without rice or days with only peanut butter, Tyson. So I think they have the grit, the wit, the strength, the endurance, the mental fortitude. I think that they can do this. And I'm biased. I'm rooting Team Survivor. I hope a Survivor player wins this game.
And watch out for Cinco.
And watch out for Cinco. Well, no, I'm just gonna look at him. He's nice to look at. I don't even care. Is he going to be on the screen at all, ever? I just want to see him on the screen. If he talks, I won't be listening. If there's gameplay from him, I'm like, what did you say? Just take your shirt off.
And just waist up. We don't need to see the legs.
I don't need to see the legs because you haven't been working on those, sir.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Alexander, thank you for the heart. It was fun. We will be back. Real quick, kind of a BB rumor wrap up from what we're hearing and what we're seeing. Right now, from everything we're hearing and seeing, we will be getting the cast on Tuesday, the day before the premiere. Never been that quick before. This is the closest I can ever think. If we haven't gotten a house, we haven't gotten anything. The plan for My Weekly Meltdown right now is to do our draft Tuesday night. We don't have the time figured out yet. We don't have those situations, but we will be doing our cast analysis and our draft Tuesday night. And then we will be back on Wednesday night for a premiere wrap-up. Again, because that's 2 days, long episodes back-to-back, we probably won't get into Challenge USA that night because we probably will be live while Challenge USA is going that night, and we'll be rewatching that later. But more details about that will be coming out shortly. But as of right now, if the cast drops Tuesday, like said, we will be drafting and cast analysis Tuesday night. But tune into our Twitter, like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. If you're not a patron, please join our patron page. And we will see you soon. But follow us, because things are going to start happening quickly this summer. And we will do updates. We will do shows out of the blue if things come up. So follow us on our social media so you can make sure you get those information. And Allison, we didn't burn your show down, so thank you for trusting us tonight to carry on the Challenge USA.
And I'm sorry to the viewers because y'all had to get this black girl realness. I'm not done with my hair. It'll be ready next week, I promise.
We're getting ready for premiere day. What you don't know is Jackie's actually in sequester right now. They let her come on just for this show. But I'm drafting her first pick on Tuesday night of next week. So, bye, guys. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next week. But hey, reality TV is back. It's summer. Big Brother. Here we go.